The story begins with Kim, who was raised by his father in a simple village. From a young age, he lived among elephants deep within the jungle, to the point that his father would take him to school using his elephant friend Kong. Over time, Kim came to love the elephants just like his own siblings because the entire village raises elephants and cares for them. After many years, we discover that Kim's elephant friend Kong has had a baby elephant. Kim played with the calf all the time. However, one day, a group of illegal poachers infiltrated the jungle intending to kidnap the baby elephant. Its mother tried to defend it, and unfortunately, one of the poachers shot her and fled like lightning. In the end, the baby's mother died from her wounds. All the villagers mourned and comforted each other in their grief. At the same time, Kim realized he had to become strong to protect Kong and the calf from poachers. He began training in Muay Thai to defend his father and his elephant friend from any harm. After a short while, Kim and his father took the adult elephant and the calf to a celebration in the city. Initially, Kim's father said he would take Kong to see the veterinarian, Dr. Pallet. Kim, of course, obeyed his father and took the calf to walk around with it. Here we learn that Dr. Pallet is actually a member of the gang that steals elephants, because as soon as the elephant saw him with his friends, it recognized him as the one who killed his mate and began attacking him. Even Kim's father discovered the secret and was about to expose the gang to everyone, so Dr. Pallet shot him. At this point, the elephant went berserk and began attacking the gang to avenge Kim's father. All the gang members fled in terror, and the whole place descended into complete chaos. Meanwhile, Kim was busy at the festival, stopping to watch a boxing match. He didn't notice that the baby elephant had started playing with some children and wandered away from him to the point that the gang members lured the calf away and kidnapped it. In the end, Kim noticed the elephant wasn't beside him, and when he started looking for it, he coincidentally found out his father had been shot. His father then ordered him to save the elephants at any cost. Kim ran as fast as he could to catch up with them, but he arrived too late. The gang had kidnapped both the adult and baby elephants and fled in a matter of seconds. The next day, the villagers gathered in deep sorrow because the elephants had been kidnapped. Fortunately, Kim's father's wounds were treated, and he survived death at the last moment. After this, the scene shifts to a house full of wealthy people. Suddenly, Kim bursts through the doors with his knee and begins mercilessly taking out the guards. Here we learn that this is the house of the same Dr. Pallet who kidnapped the elephants. Kim came to find out where they were. Initially, Kim crushed the fighters who stood in his way using his legendary martial arts skills. He learned from Dr. Pallet that he had sent the elephants to Australia to be sold at auction. Kim became extremely angry and escaped before the gang members could surround him. He then took a boat and set off at full speed. Of course, the criminals didn't leave him alone and pursued him fiercely, to the point that they brought in an armed helicopter to kill him. However, Kim was very smart and managed to trick them, attaching their boat to their helicopter. He managed to escape with great difficulty. After this, the events shift to the Australian city of Sydney, where we meet Officer Mark. Mark is a Thai young man living in Australia. Journalists were filming him because he is a skilled officer with a good reputation. But suddenly, Mark learned that a robbery was taking place, so he rushed to stop it. When he arrived at the crime scene, he discovered the thief was his neighbor. He started talking to him to calm him down, then quickly tricked him and arrested him. Away from the press and cameras, the neighbor begged him to drop the charges and release him. Next, we meet Madame Rose. Rose is a criminal in a Chinese mafia gang. She was feeling angry because the gang boss was yelling at her and wasn't satisfied with her. Her assistant suggested she buy a group of rare elephants to present to him as a gift. At this time, Kim finally arrived in Australia to begin searching for his elephant friends. As soon as he left the airport, he hailed a taxi and asked to go to the elephant auction. However, he didn't know the taxi driver was a dangerous criminal on the run from the police. For this reason, Officer Mark and his partner moved to chase him through the city streets. Initially, the criminal sped off and was about to escape, but Officer Mark pursued him in his police car and managed to corner him with the help of Officer Annie. Here, the criminal refused to surrender and took Kim hostage, threatening Mark with a weapon. But Kim waited for the right opportunity to break his arm. At this point, an undercover officer named Vince shot at the criminal, causing Kim to run away in fear. Mark then ordered his arrest. Even though Kim was using his physical fitness to escape, Officer Mark and his partner threatened him with weapons and caught him in the end. When Kim got into the police car, he coincidentally discovered that Mark was Thai like him and told him about the stolen elephants. Mark promised to investigate the case as soon as possible. Here, Mark got out of the car to talk to his fiancée, but by coincidence, Kim noticed Johnny. Johnny is one of the most dangerous criminals who kidnapped the elephants. Kim started yelling and demanded to get out of the car, but Mark's partner prevented him. Kim got very angry and escaped from the car. Of course, Mark was shocked and began chasing him. Kim cut the rope on his hands and chased Johnny until he found him, but Johnny ignored him and sent his followers to finish him off. Kim easily grabbed and beat them. Before he could continue on his way, a girl warned him about Johnny and his gang, but he didn't listen to her. Kim then searched all the streets and threatened the criminals he met to find out Johnny's location. Johnny was completing a drug deal in his secret hideout, but suddenly Kim stormed the place and ruined the deal. Initially, Johnny went crazy at Kim for ruining his plan and ordered all his followers to finish him off. But Kim was a professional, having learned the secrets of martial arts from his father. We learned that Kim defeated all the gang members present in the city because they started coming from everywhere armed with glass weapons to smash over Kim's head. But he dodged them like lightning, began separating them, and took them out one by one because they outnumbered him, and he couldn't fight them all at once. Additionally, a dangerous fighter appeared on a motorcycle and was about to kill Kim, but Kim's reaction was very quick, and he managed to trick him in the end. However, it was no use because the number of criminals was countless, and they kept attacking him from every direction until he escaped from them onto a building. Here, a criminal on a motorcycle attacked Kim with full force. Kim dodged him, jumped into the air at the last moment, and slammed him into the glass to save his life. After the battle ended, Kim lost consciousness from exhaustion. Fortunately, the girl who had warned him earlier found him on the street and saved him at the last moment. She even took him to her house to protect him from the police. But as soon as she went down to get food, Kim woke from his coma and didn't know where he was. Meanwhile, Officer Mark and his partner went to his house because her neighbor had reported her and revealed that Kim was hiding in the house. But he escaped at the last moment, and Mark couldn't catch him. After this, Mark went to meet Officer Vince, who had shot at him earlier, and reported everything that had happened. Vince betrayed him and killed his friend. Here we discover that Vince is a corrupt officer working with the gang that steals elephants. Mark was shocked by what happened, but gathered his strength and escaped from the corrupt officers with great difficulty. A short while later, Mark received a call from his fiancée and learned that Vince and his followers had kidnapped her, forcing him to surrender against his will. As for the girl, Lee, she was running from the corrupt officers, Vince's followers, because she knew dangerous secrets about the gang. Fortunately, Kim appeared at the last moment and saved her to repay her kindness. Lee told him her story and informed him that Johnny works with a dangerous gang that steals rare animals and sells them on the black market. As soon as Kim learned the gang's hideout from Lee, he set out to finish off Johnny and rescue his elephant friends. Initially, Kim entered the first floor of the building, surprising the guards with his terrifying strength and supernatural speed because they couldn't control him. Then, he went up to the second floor. Here, the guards surrounded Kim from every direction because they were very numerous. But he used a set of secret Muay Thai techniques and struck them until he reached the third floor. He began taking out anyone who stood in his way because he wanted to reach his elephant friends no matter the cost. After long minutes of fighting, Kim reached the top floor. But as soon as he entered, he was surprised by Johnny and noticed wealthy people sitting and eating. Johnny insulted him and threw the baby elephant's bell at him. Of course, Kim was shocked because he thought the baby elephant was dead. Johnny took advantage of his grief and attacked him with extreme ferocity. Kim tied the baby elephant's bell to his hand, gathered his strength, then grabbed Johnny, beat him, and humiliated him in front of everyone. He also beat his followers and began searching the building for the baby elephant. Here, Kim learned that the gang steals rare animals and sells them to the wealthy to eat. Kim continued fighting them until he coincidentally discovered that Officer Mark was imprisoned. Kim rescued him at the last moment and rested with him in the darkness, but he felt something strange touching him. When he looked behind him, he found the baby elephant still alive and felt immense happiness, freeing it from captivity. After this, Kim, Mark, and the elephant escaped from the gang's building without anyone noticing them. The next day, Mark took Kim and they went to hide with a monk friend of his, away from the police's eyes. Then they went out to the city to buy food. When they returned to the monk, they were severely shocked to see the place completely engulfed in flames. Additionally, a Brazilian fighter appeared to fight Kim. Here we learn that all of this is a trap set by Vince and the gang to finish off Kim and Mark because they would expose their secrets. Unfortunately, Kim was shocked by his opponent's strength because he uses dance moves in combat and has extremely high physical fitness. But over time, Kim managed to identify his weakness and controlled him with great difficulty. But before he could rest, he was surprised by a skilled samurai fighter using a sword and began dodging his attacks like lightning, even though he was extremely tired. The samurai took advantage of Kim's weakness and pressured him heavily, but Kim refused to surrender. He took 2 iron rods and prepared to defend himself. Indeed, Kim executed his plan and defeated the samurai fighter. When he tried to rest, he was grabbed by a huge hand that broke the glass and seized him by the neck without warning. Here we learn that Vince and the gang hired the world's largest fighter to finish off Kim and take revenge on him. Kim was surprised by his terrifying size. Unfortunately, no matter how hard Kim tried to hit the giant fighter, he wasn't affected and struck him until he fell to the ground. But just as he was about to finish him off, he heard police car sirens and fled the place at the last moment. In the end, Mark came to his rescue. After the fighting ended, Mark advised Kim to turn himself in to the police. But Kim didn't listen to him. He waited until Mark was asleep and took the baby elephant to confront Vince and Rose's gang because they had kidnapped the adult elephant. Indeed, Kim finally reached the gang's headquarters. At the beginning of the battle, Kim overpowered all his enemies, cleared his path, and entered the building, but he was surprised when Vince threatened him with a weapon and was about to finish him off. Suddenly, Mark appeared and shot Vince in the shoulder so Kim could continue on his way. After Kim left, Mark kept hitting Vince because he was a traitorous officer. At this time, Kim reached Rose with the baby elephant, but he was shocked by what he saw and couldn't believe his eyes because Rose had killed the adult elephant and made jewelry from its tusks covered in gold. Unfortunately, Kim froze in place when he first discovered the sad truth and began remembering the old days when he played with the elephant and loved it just like his own brother. Additionally, the criminals gathered around him and beat him, but Kim regained consciousness when he saw his blood and knew he had to fight with all his might to reclaim justice for his elephant friend. Indeed, Kim transformed into a ruthless, destructive fighter and unleashed all his anger on all the gang members to the point that he began breaking their bones with his hands without using any weapons. Moreover, he wasn't affected by their blows. After long minutes of fighting, Kim took out over 100 guards and finally reached Rose. But suddenly, the giant fighter who had tried to kill him before reappeared. This time, however, Kim had studied his moves and struck him in the head because that was his only weakness. Just as Kim was about to win the battle, Rose attacked him using her weapon, and her husband arrived with 3 extremely strong fighters to team up against Kim and finish him off without mercy. Additionally, the giant fighter threw him onto the skeleton of his elephant friend. Here, Kim did the unexpected. He took 2 bones and used them as deadly weapons because the elephant's bones were stronger than iron. Indeed, Kim's plan succeeded, and he struck Rose's followers without mercy. When the elephant bone broke, he used it like knives to slice through the criminals one by one, leaving them unable to move. Then he struck the giant fighter with his knee in the back, finishing him off completely. As for Rose, she tried to escape in a helicopter, but Kim stopped her in her tracks and finished off her husband. Rose tricked him and got caught in the helicopter's rope. Of course, Kim refused to let her escape, jumped from the top of the building, struck her, and finished her off completely. But he was saved from death at the last moment because he fell between the tusks of his elephant friend. In the end, he decided to return to his father and felt immense happiness because the baby elephant was still alive. And here, our film ends.